Ellie,
Hello.
how are you today? Are you very well?
I am very well. I'm feeling very energized this week. I don't know why.
Good, good. Don't question it, just go with it.
Yeah.
I found that when I get energy, I'm just like, right, that's what we need to do. And we're gonna need that energy because the dust has settled. And what we're going to do is we're gonna have a look back on the four specials, because Christmas special as well. And we put out a poll on Twitter and Threads for everyone in the community to rank the four episodes. But full disclosure, we haven't looked at the result of that yet. So we're going to rank the episodes ourselves from 4 to 1 and kind of go through them, give our reason as to why, and then we're going to see how that matches up with how the results of the poll have come in. So ahead of everything, okay, it's probably, if you're watching this, it's a bit late at this stage, but how about write down, we'll give you a second, write down your ranking for, we've got in order, we've got the Star Beast, Wild Blue Yonder, the Giggle, and the Church on Ruby Road. So write that down really quickly and see how your ranking will align with our ranking, and then let's see how it aligns with the community ranking.
I will say that, so obviously we've discussed our ranking in advance, and it's very interesting because I think the original plan was for us to give our individual rankings and debate why we thought against the other. But interestingly, our ranking is the same.
Yes.
Both of us ranked the episodes exactly the same. So we're just going to give one ranking because we agree. Yeah. As opposed to just having a full-on argument.
We agree on the same thing. You're nonsense. Nonsense, I tell you. No, actually, and I was surprised. I think I was surprised that we both had the same episode in 4th place. So I guess without much further ado, 4th place, we have the Star Beast. What is your reason for having it under the other 3?
Okay, so first and foremost, I just want to put this out there. We're doing a ranking. Just because it's in 4th place doesn't mean we don't like the episode. Something has to go last.
To go in Perfect, exactly, yeah.
But I think now that, like you said, the dust has settled, when you look at all the episodes, I think when The Star Beast aired, there was so much excitement surrounding it because it was the first of the specials. It was the return of David Tennant and Catherine Tate, and that was where most of the excitement around that episode lied. But now that we can step away and look at them a little bit saner, if you like. Yeah. I think of the 4, it's maybe the most standard of episodes. If you compare it to episodes in the past, it kind of heavily relied on the nostalgia elements, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. I mean, I loved it. Sure. But compared to the other stories, it was the most standard Doctor Who story of the 4 episodes that we've seen. Monsters come to Earth. I think if you removed the elements of the return of David Tennant, Catherine Tate, that whole reunion, the nostalgia elements, the story elements of carrying over what will happen to Donna if she remembers, if you took all that away and you were left with just the story of Meep and the Rarth, generally speaking, it's the most kind of standard structured story compared to all the others.
And I agree. And I mean, it's funny that, because we're both kind of going, oh, we don't want that to come across as an insult. It isn't an insult. It is what's the word I'm looking for? It's as much a compliment as it is anything. In the first episode, they took us straight back to the Doctor Who that we had seen and that we loved from basically time gone by. We've discussed, no, that's not a dig against, the Chibnall or Moffat era, but it definitely feels like, oh, we're straight back to the Russell T Davies era.
Definitely. I think, and also as well, it's, again, not an insult in as much as there were massive improvements. I had a video earlier last week, at some point recently, talking about the increase in budget from Disney, and you can see those improvements in the practical effects, in the way that the Meep was created. There are a lot of positives to the episode. We're not looking at the episode and going, oh, it was standard, like it just was the same as before. There were clear improvements, but in general, was followed the expected structure the most compared to the other stories that we saw.
I think as well, I mean, we've kind of covered, we've nearly covered to death our ups and downs, if you like, of the episode. I think the thing that I both like and dislike the most is I love the idea that Donna having a child diluted the meta crisis. Perfect. That was like, oh, brilliant. Which is why, like, all right, Grant, you couldn't cure her in the moment because, kids take time. Which is fine. Yeah, the dig that Rose makes about a male presenting Time Lord would never understand he was a woman half an hour ago.
Yeah.
And if Donna had said, I said at the time, if Donna had said it would have been that kind of the playful banter that the Doctor and Donna have together, Rose and the Doctor, even if Rose is still part Meta Crisis, part Doctor Donna Rose, we as an audience don't have that relationship between Rose and the Doctor. So that was like, it's little things like that. But I mean, I'm talking, these are little things that I'm just like, yeah, all right, yeah, look, I'm going to rewatch it till Kingdom Come because I really enjoy watching the episode. The excitement of it. You made the point as well, actually, something that as time has gone on, I agree with you more, is that recap in the beginning.
Yeah, I just don't think it was necessary. Or it was necessary, but the way that it was presented felt off. I genuinely would have preferred like a big kind of previously on Doctor Who and just like a snappy recap of the important parts rather than them telling a story. And to be honest, the Donna part wasn't so bad because it did fill in some gaps of her life beyond the Doctor, getting married, having a child. But the Doctor randomly floating in space with this strange gap next to him that I expected to be filled with something at some point that never was, that I just was like, well, I don't understand this bit.
It's all right. It was the Doctor standing on a green screen and, the screensaver from Windows 95 was playing in the back. All right, I'm being mean because it was just a bit like, But, I mean, so much to love. I mean, just how quickly David Tennant and Catherine Tate are back.
Yes.
That was... And Sean Temple, was brilliant.
And Sylvia.
Sylvia.
Sylvia was great.
Turn. You. It's like, oh my God.
Do you know what? I watched The Runaway Bride a few days ago, and she's just as great in that episode as well. I just love Sylvia.
Yeah. Like, she's just so much... Because even when because obviously she's not being cutting the way she was before, and yet she can do both brilliantly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, overall... Plus, the meet was a lot of fun. Plus, Mary and Margulies, yeah, brilliant. Loved the twist, if we hadn't done the research on the comic, but loved the twist that the Rarth were actually the good guys. And spoilers, I guess, but if you're watching this, come on now, folks. I'm assuming at this point you've seen the episodes. So the Star Beast, lot to love, enough in it that it just pops it down to the to number 4 in this list. What did we have for number 3?
We had Wild Blue Yonder. I think this is the one that perhaps maybe a lot of people might have expected to be in 4th place.
I think I expected this to be in 4th, and I did my own ranking.
Yeah.
I expected this to be in 4th.
I think that was the debate I was having between the Star Beast and Wild Blue Yonder as to which order they should go in.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to put it above the Star Beast?
As much for all of the things we just said we loved about the Star Beast, it was Russell T Davies back again. It was the Doctor and Donna. It was lots of fun and everything. Wild Blue Yonder had a much stronger, certainly, relationship between the Doctor and Donna. The acting, and not to knock the acting in the Star Beast. That's not what I mean by this. Is they had more opportunity to show off their acting chops in Wild Blue Yonder, and even the bits that I didn't enjoy as much. Giant aliens. There was enough of a balance, I thought, that overall throughout the episode, and of course, that ending. But overall, throughout the episode, I thought there was enough that they did bring their A game. It's just, ironically, it's a quieter episode, even though it's often the edge of the universe and, there's all that going on. It's a much more intimate episode. And I had to be like, all right, I have to be honest here. They get more to do as well.
I mean, Russell T. Davies has stated, the reason that he wanted to shroud this one in mystery is because it's the simplest of the specials, which I know we have discussed, and he has almost admitted that maybe hurt the initial reception of it slightly, just because so much, there was just so much built up around how mysterious this episode was. Having said that, I think where the Star Beast is an episode where it was bolstered by the excitement of it being the first of the specials, and now in hindsight perhaps was loved more because of that, and now when you watch it you can kind of take it a little bit more at face value for what it is beyond the overall excitement. While Blue Yonder, I think, is an episode that upon further viewing gets better. I mean, I think I even said when I first watched the episode, it was one of the episodes I wasn't around for when it was actually airing, and I watched it as soon as I got home from London. I was feeling quite poorly and it was very, very late, and it kind of, I couldn't get my head around what was going on. I was very confused and it felt like a fever dream. But then when I watched it again, I feel like I could take it in a little bit more, and I definitely enjoyed it more the second time round, and I think it's an episode that's going to age really well. I mean, they took a chance, they took a risk, but I also think that in the long run it paid off.
The sort of the hubbub and lack of details before the episode hurt it, because it made it look like it was going to be this big multi-doctor story. It made it look like it was going to be this, and as you say, Russell he's addressed that. So now that we can watch it again without any of that, we go in and see this. It's a very good
episode. It's actually a very different episode.
Yeah.
And I think
it is, yeah.
What's quite good about that is, as we've said, the Star Beast followed such a standard Doctor Who episode structure that this episode is so wacky by comparison, but also still shows that extra budget and those extra. I mean, I still stand by, I was more distracted by the pristine corridor CGI than I was by the growing jaw CGI. I don't know. One of them I can accept that it's Doctor Who and it's supposed to look that kind of hokey, and the other one was distracting because it just felt too pristine for Doctor Who. But overall, yeah, I think it was an episode that they took a risk and it paid off.
Yeah, the CGI with all of the love of my body was pants. I think they tried to do a little bit too much, and obviously so much of the budget clearly went on the Giggle and Star Beast. I think, yeah. So the top two, I think this is the thing where, for me, it was only ever going to be it was which one was going to be one and which one was going to be two. It was never going to be which would dip down. In my estimation, we'll see obviously what the community says, and whoever's watching this right now and is ranking along will see what they say. But number 2, Church on Ruby Road. So what's your reasons for having it as the second highest?
I just really enjoyed seeing Ncuti Gatwa fully embracing the role. And as much as it's great to have had David Tennant, Catherine Tate back, and it made me feel like I was a child again, and the nostalgia was wonderful, there's always so much excitement about seeing the new Doctor and what they're going to bring. There was also the excitement of it being a Christmas special, which we haven't had in so long, and it just added that element of excitement back. But also because we'd actually had a little bit of a taster of Ncuti Gatwa in the role already, you'd kind of been teased a little bit, and so there was that extra level of, I've had my little teaser of it, and I'm ready to fully see where this is going to go.
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I thought it was perfect tone for a Christmas special. I thought he was brilliant, and like gets it from the jump. Yeah. And I really, really like Millie Gibson.
Yeah, I think I have mentioned that I think it's going to take a couple of episodes for me to like fully sink my teeth into this character. And I think that's the case with a lot of companions, to be fair. I mean, like I said, we'd already had a bit of Shutigawa as the Doctor, so we didn't need that much time to process this new character because we'd already seen him. Whereas obviously the companion, this is the first we've seen of her. And generally, the first episode of a new companion, it follows the tropes of, who are you? What's going on? It's bigger on the inside. And so I'm intrigued and excited to learn more about the mysteries surrounding her, but also to get to know her beyond that initial confusion that we always see with a companion and start to really see her personality shine through as the episodes go on.
Like, for sure. And also, what's the thing as well? And of course, this is the first time since Rose that anyone's ever walked around the TARDIS and gone, it's bigger on the inside.
You are wrong.
Oh, Russell.
I'll say it again. Your facts are wrong, mate.
Russell, you silly sausage.
I also think they were quite clever in releasing the Goblin song in advance.
I'm really digging that. I mean, the more I listen to it, the only thing that really like is just like, and it's meant to make you uncomfortable, is he can eat me, he makes me swoon. I'm just like,
my favorite line is not even in the song, is one of Ruby's lines when she goes, "They're seasoning her." I don't know why, that's why they're so funny. I enjoyed that quirkiness as well. I know some people have gone, oh, it was so cringy that they started singing, and I'm like, this is Doctor Who.
Yeah, like, I mean, I don't know, like, I don't want to in any way, I don't want to brush over anyone's concerns, but there's things that I just don't take issue to. And having a bit of singing in it, I mean, do you really think the Doctor wouldn't have in his back pocket or in their back pocket a song would get you out of a situation? You know?
Also, I mean, the thing is, a musical episode of anything is a massively divisive thing. People love it or hate it. We've seen this with Star Trek. We've seen this with pretty much any musical episode of anything that's made.
For sure.
But I kind of feel like this was mostly music within the story itself. The goblins were singing, and we've seen that in Doctor Who before with Tallulah, is that her name? In Daleks in Manhattan?
Oh yeah, of course.
In series 3, yes, Tallulah, I think that's her name. And she, she's singing in that episode.
Oh, what a song. Thank you for reminding me of that one, actually.
Do you know what? The Goblin song gave me those vibes a little bit. Just, I don't know what it was about it, but something about it gave me those vibes slightly. But yeah, most of the singing was actually, within the story itself. Having said that, I'd still love to see an episode of Doctor Who where, typically this is what happens in most sci-fi things when a musical episode happens. Something happens that causes everybody to sing.
Yeah.
And that's fine by me. That is better than, when you watch just a standard musical and people just burst into song for absolutely no reason whatsoever, and there's no reason for it.
Looking at you, Grey's Anatomy. I know they had some sort of... Someone was...
But not even that, just musicals in general. Like, I'm trying to think of an example. Into the Woods, any Sondheim musical. Let's just sing about the fact that we're going into the woods. And it's like, why are you singing?
Something I learned in my career was, if you're going to criticize Sondheim, run.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can also appreciate a good musical. I do love a good musical, but I like that when you try to incorporate it into sci-fi, I like that there's that added element of there's a reason for it. As I just said, the Star Trek musical that we had last year, they were in an area of space that affected them and caused them to sing, and it was an issue that they needed to overcome. Buffy, the greatest, once more we're feeling, the best musical episode, like the OG that set it all in motion. That it's
compared to, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that was brilliant as well. There was a demon that made them all sing, and to the point where they would dance themselves to death. Like, there was a real high stakes to it. It's not just let's all sing for no reason. So, I think I would like...
if we want to, right?
Well, we can if we want to, yeah.
For no reason?
But I still would like to see a full-blown Doctor Who story where everyone has to sing and dance and there's high stakes involved.
I would, because I think it's the kind of thing that lends itself to it. I think that's the thing as well. And I know And I fully appreciate that there will be some people watching this and their eye is twitching,
They're like,
thinking
please,
about
God, no.
And that's absolutely fine. If musicals are not your thing, absolutely fine. But
I just feel like you said, something like Doctor Who lends itself to a really good story and plot that would make sense surrounding this.
I think for myself, two things. I loved the Doctor and Cherry Sunday.
Yes.
Love that. Doctor Who, the search for a good cup of tea. Loved that. I think for me, the Doctor and Ruby straight away they just clicked in my opinion. Didn't particularly love. Why is Yuan pushing a pram full of stuff at midnight? I don't know. So
that did seem a bit strange, didn't it?
It was a bit like, kind of. I love the Doctor, kind of. What are you doing pushing a baby? And in fairness, it wasn't a baby, but yeah, it was like, all right. Right. Okay. So number one, even as much as I enjoyed Ruby Road, number one was a given for me.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So the giggle absolutely knocked it out of the water.
Mm-hmm. I think the thing that we kept saying with the first two specials is they were great, but they didn't feel anniversary special level. We were waiting for that wow factor that just wasn't quite coming through. And the giggle is where we really got that. It was like the showstopper. I think a lot of that was the result of Neil Patrick Harris. He just brought something to that episode, to that role that just elevated it. He just was absolutely the perfect casting choice for that role. I think the fact that we got Unit back. I mean, we did have a bit of Unit in the Star Beast, but generally it was like we're in Unit HQ.
Yeah.
Just the higher value of everything. I don't know. It's just something about that episode. They were bouncing from place to place. We had the introduction of Ncuti Gatwa. It just felt the most wow of the specials. I
think wow is it's a good word for you definitely get the scale, which you had a bit of in the Star Beast, and you didn't really in Wild Blue Yonder, but that was the nature of the story. Whereas this, you're on top of Avengers Tower, and I'm not even attempting to rename it. But I liked the conceit of how the regeneration begins. I like the toy maker's logic. I played one game with one Doctor, and that worked. That works for me. I thought the over the top, the really stereotypical, the German accent. Yeah, I like because it was so fake.
Yeah, I know some people took issue with that. Personally, I just think it elevated the character. It just highlighted his showmanship and his just, like you said, the over the topness of him.
That's it. It was never, at least I never got the impression that he was ever trying to do a real accent.
No, and as we learned in, I believe, Unleashed, the script was written phonetically in that way. So none of it was ever him putting on an accent. He was following the script as it had been written, and every word was pronounced as he was supposed to pronounce it, as written by Russell T Davies.
Cool. Yep. That makes, do you know what? I had not seen that episode of Unleashed, so that makes perfect sense.
Mm-hmm. Spice up your life.
Maybe I'm wrong. I just don't see why people didn't enjoy that. I thought it was so silly.
No, I loved it. Again, as we were just saying about musicals, it just has that balance of not going too far into, we've turned into a musical again, but just, it was a real high stakes scene and funny at the same time. I mean, he was literally killing people by turning them into bouncy balls. And yet, you couldn't help but laugh at what was going on. It was, you didn't know what to feel.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You're like, am I supposed to laugh? Am I supposed to be terrified? I'm kind of a little bit both. And love the reintroduction of Bonnie Langford. Yes. That was handled just, there you go. That's how you bring a companion back. You don't have this, you abandoned us and this, which, all right, sometimes he did abandon them. But it was just like, hey, how's it going? Oh, hey. Oh my God, it's Mel. Oh, everything's great. And I was like, oh, I get this, that this is two friends who haven't seen each other in forever.
It felt really natural. And I loved the interaction between Mel and Donna. We've often had, I think we mentioned this before, it gets a bit of a tired trope of having companions fighting with each other over, oh, there was someone before me. Whereas I loved the friendship between them. He's like, oh, I wasn't the first redhead. It just, I preferred that. I think that's also, I preferred a lot of the relationship between Donna and the Doctor way back when, because I liked that it was more of a fully platonic, buddy, bantery relationship rather than the pining love story that we'd seen in the previous 2 series.
I'm so done with this love story thing. Also because the Doctor is like thousands of years old. Can we not have him hooking up with an 18-year-old, please? This isn't Twilight. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's just no way of not making it creepy, in my opinion. But anyway, listen, it's fine. Look, I like the bi-generation. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to this one. If you hated it and thought it was a cop-out, okay. Do you know what I mean? I'm not going to rush to massively disagree with you. I personally enjoyed it, but I think from my point of view, I enjoyed it because it was nice to have a regeneration that wasn't tragic.
Yes, I agree. And I think I've mentioned this quite a few times, but I think it took me a while to fully understand what it meant. But once I did, I kind of changed. Because at first I was like, I'm not sure about this. But I think once I really thought about it, heard some of the comments that Russell T Davies had made and what this meant potentially for the future, then I was sold. And I was like, actually, I like what you've done here. It opens the doors for so many more opportunities. And without having to explain things in complicated things, how can this person return because they look older, or it just opens so many more doors.
And, you know, the idea of technically the Doctor does get to live happily ever after and yet does go off on his adventures as well, you know. And, you know, no one's hands have ever been so analysed, you know, since the last of the Time Lords. You know, it's like, who's wearing red nail polish? All right,
my
who is it?
Goodness.
And who's standing off the edge of Avengers Tower as well?
Yeah, that was very weird framing, wasn't it? It was a bit it was a bit strange, but I wore red nail polish that week, and in hindsight, was that a good choice?
You did that. You picked up the tooth.
Spoilers, it was me.
But please, for the love and honor of all that is holy, do not make the Master the villain. I think, hasn't Russell said this season will not see the return of any classic villains?
He has said that.
Good.
So there's been a teasing of the Master returning, but as far as we're aware, that's not going to be happening in season 1 at least.
Yeah. Like, and in fairness, I think even after The Last of Time Lords, we had all of season 4 and then most of the specials as well before we got the Master. So doesn't mean it's going to be the next episode. Great. Okay, cool. So, the Giggle, loved it. It's definitely a powerful welcome to this era of Doctor Who. We know from trailers that we're going to be revisiting Unit Tower. We'll have Kate back. We'll have Mel back. We'll have Rose back, which I'm very happy about.
But most importantly, Sean, who else do we have back in Unit?
We have very nice Unit Guard, who I think is very nice. And,
yeah. Super hot Unit guy.
Super hot Unit guy. I'm very happy about this.
He does have a name. I just, for the life of me, can't think of it.
What I mean, you know, listen, time and a place for a name. You know what I mean?
Right. Shall we move on to the community?
I think we
scoring?
should. Okay. So So in long summary, we have in 4th place the Star Beast, in 3rd place Wild Blue Yonder, in 2nd place the Church on Ruby Road, and in 1st place the Giggle. Okay, I am now scrolling down.
We haven't looked at these, by the way.
Okay, so I haven't seen these yet.
We haven't seen these results, so this is blind reaction to what you guys think. Oh, Danny's he's even put loads and loads of marks, so we couldn't even scroll across it.
So I'm just scrolling down to, right, so number 4. Oh, okay, they all came up with one go.
For Twitter.
All right, okay, so on Twitter, we all had the Star Beast in 4th.
Mm-hmm.
Twitter had the Church on Ruby Road in 3rd.
Ooh.
And Wild Blue Yonder in 2nd. Okay. All right, okay. And then the Giggle is number 1.
That's quite interesting. It's interesting that, because we were saying that the ones we struggled with which order to go with was the Star Beast and Wild Blue Yonder between 3rd and 4th. And you were saying the Church on Ruby Road and the Giggle.
Mm.
And actually, here it's the two that we didn't really question in that are the opposite way around here.
I like that. I'm wondering. I mean, like, because obviously everyone has their reasons. Is it because Wild Blue Yonder is just Tennant and Tate? So if you're a fan of Tennant and Tate, there you go. It's a perfect gift for you.
Yeah, that's quite interesting.
Maybe people didn't like the idea of Davina McCall being put in peril.
Well, there's that. But I also say it's a given, isn't it? Like, I feel like it's a general consensus that the giggle was the best.
Was the strongest of the lot. Well, let's see what Thread says.
Okay.
Oh, okay, right. Okay, wow. So Threads is a complete match with Twitter. Starbeast, Church on Ruby Road, Wild Blue Yonder, the giggle. Right, so everyone agrees the giggle is the strongest, and because something has to be in fourth, the Starbeast is fourth. So where you and I have disagreed with the majority of people is that we have Ruby Road a little bit higher than Wild Blue Yonder. But I mean, I look at this and I go, they're all so flipping close.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like we said, you've got to put them in an order, but any one of them really, I mean, other than the giggle being at number one, is quite difficult. But I do remember when we gave our ranking, when Danny asked us to rank them, he was quite surprised that Church on Ruby Road was so high for both of us as well, I think. So I think maybe it is a general consensus that what is it that we love about this episode that others seem to not enjoy so much? I'm not sure. Maybe. I mean, the thing is, introduction episodes do tend to be a little bit kind of lower performers anyway, because, like I said, they follow a similar structure. Because a lot of them do.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They have to. They have to have the companion encounters to TARDIS. You get all that and you get that. And in a way, you raised a very good point about Ruby Road, which was, hi, I'm the Doctor at the end. You know, the episode just ends like that. You don't kind of get, we don't get Ruby exploring the TARDIS. And I wonder, is that because I presume we'll get that in the next episode, but is it because every single companion introduction episode sees them, exploring the TARDIS? Except, of course, like Graham, Ryan, and Yaz didn't, because the TARDIS wasn't there.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the thing is as well, it's difficult because we had the big exploration of the new TARDIS with David Tennant and Catherine Tate. And so usually when the companion is introduced to the TARDIS, generally when it's, a news thing, when you think about the 11th Hour, the companion's introduction to the TARDIS is the audience's introduction to the new TARDIS. But as an audience, we'd already had that.
We've done that,
so they didn't want to linger on that too much because it's like, well, yeah, we know what it looks like. But I just feel like I said, in the negative, as I said, there's a structure that the new companion has to follow. But at the same time, it's kind of expected. There are certain elements that are expected. And one of those things is seeing the companion react to the TARDIS. And I just feel like they just could have done with a few more beats of her really taking it in. Personally, I don't think we're going to see that in the next episode. I think that's it. I don't think there's going to be any more Ruby Sunday exploring the TARDIS, because I think we've had that already.